Trivialist presents the top 10 deadliest product recalls. Consumerism is the engine that drives the American economy. But for businesses, the gravy train is over if it goes off the rails and kills all your customers. Get ready for the top 10 deadliest product recalls. We start our list with the most famous product recall of all time, the Ford Pinto. The Pinto came out in 1971 and Ford kept selling it until 1980. While many of the products you see on this list are not usually associated with violent death, everyone knows cars can kill. The Ford Pinto just stood out a little bit more because of the extremely gruesome way in which its occupants tended to die. The Pinto's fashionable hatchback design meant the gas tank was just a little forward of the rear bumper. In case of a rear-end collision, the gas tank would often rupture and, well, there's a reason why it was called the barbecue that seats four. In 1978, Ford finally gave into pressure and lawsuits and recalled 1.5 million Pintos. If you haven't died in a burning car lately, you can thank this recall for that. From a car that cooks your goose to a baby sling that strangles. Our number 2 recall seemed like a good idea at the time. For millennia, women have been swaddling their babies and strapping them on their backs while they farm or weave or fight guerrilla warfare. But where's the baby sling for the 21st century mom on the go? Infantino's Sling Rider and Wendy Bellamissimo baby slings were meant to be the get-up-and-go solution for moms who want to keep their hands free. Unfortunately, it turns out wrapping a baby completely in a fabric cocoon and lodging him under your boobs is not such a good idea. The design caused babies' heads to be pushed forward, resulting in at least 3 deaths in 2009. It's time to do a U-turn and go back to talking about cars, but don't turn too quickly because these tires have been known to kill. In the year 2000, Ford and Firestone recalled 6.5 million tires for the Ford Explorer SUV after it became clear there was a fatal flaw. If you think back to the 90s, you'll recall how cool everybody looked driving around their gigantic gas-guzzling sport utility vehicles. The Ford Explorer was among the highest and the heaviest, which also meant it frequently flipped over. In an effort to solve that problem, Ford and Firestone caused another. They used low PSI tires which decreased rollover, but increased heat on the tire. The heat would cause the treads to separate, and the vehicle was doomed once that happened. Over 240 people were killed and 3,000 catastrophic injuries were suffered before Ford and Firestone finally recalled the tires. Let's take a break from all these vehicular homicides and enjoy a nice scorching hot muffin, straight from our number 4, the Easy Bake Oven. The Easy Bake Oven has been entertaining children for decades by burning off their fingerprints and warming trays of chemical dough just above room temperature. But it's not your mom's Easy Bake Oven that's being recalled. Actually, it's a 2007 model. The toy works like a little oven, but unlike a real oven, the door of the Easy Bake 2007 model had a tendency to chomp kids on the finger. At that point, it's less of an oven and more like a red-hot dough-filled electric finger cooking machine. Fun for the whole family. Our 5th deadly product recall once again targets the most defenseless consumer of all, the baby consumer. And incidentally, baby consumer is a good name for crap sold by this brand, whose high chairs, car seats, and strollers are all hungry for your tender offspring. The company is named Graco, which sounds to me more like a medieval vampire's name than a stroller company. Just in the last couple of years, they've suffered a slew of recalls for their terribly designed products. The recalled Graco strollers can cut off your baby's fingers. Or another recalled Graco stroller lets your baby keep his fingers, but will strangle him instead. Then the Graco high chair will drop its legs and rocket your baby to the ground. Oh, and finally, Graco's car seats use buckles that don't buckle. And all of those were just in the last 2 years. Why does this company still exist? The number 6 recall on our list was probably the most deadliest of all. The FDA confirmed 14 deaths, but some estimates put the number at over 1,000. We're talking about the great 2007 pet food recall. Oh, I probably should have mentioned the victims were dogs and cats. Starting in 2007, the FDA started getting a flood of reports complaining that many popular brands of pet food were killing cats and dogs. These brands included Kirkland, Purina, and even, oh no, 8-in-1 Ferret Ultra Blend Advanced Nutrition Diet. No! I eat that every day! It turned out the culprit was a chemical called melamine. Chinese suppliers use melamine to make the protein count in their products appear high, but it's actually poison. After the incident, the FDA recommended a recall, but not all the companies complied because, screw your dog, give me the money! The number 7 product recall on our list was caused by too much speed. And boy, don't I know the pain. It was the 2010 Toyota sticky gas pedal recall. And much like its crystally cousin, the come down from this speed was very harsh, since it usually involved a fatal collision. The trouble started when the floor mats in some Toyota cars started getting stuck behind the accelerator, jamming it into danger zone position. After fixing that, the problem kept happening, and it turned out the accelerator pedal itself was sticky. After fixing that, it turned out the car's computers were messed up. In all, nearly 8 million vehicles were recalled. Coming in fast at number 8 is flying bits of metal. That's right, this recall isn't for your foot, it's for your face. It's the Takata Airbag Recall. It turns out, far from saving your life in the event of a crash, Takata airbags simply make the crash worse by exploding in your face. Since 2013, at least 8 people have been killed when Takata airbags blasted them in the face with shards of metal. Then in 2016, Takata's airbags killed a woman who wasn't even in a car. A truck carrying a shipment of airbags crashed outside her house, all the airbags went off, and she and her house were blown to bits. The defective airbags could have entered the market over 10 years earlier than previously thought, and so far have resulted in the recall of over 40 million vehicles. The number 9 recall on our list was a really hot item during the last holiday season. It's the Galaxy Note 7 and its exploding battery. The Note 7 was Samsung's newest and most power phablet, that is, a phone/tablet. People all over the world who loved annoying large phones or annoying small tablets were excited to get their hands on the new gadget. Unfortunately, the Note 7 had a tendency to erupt in fire. The problem was caused by the Note's extremely thin battery with its extremely close electrodes. Oh, and lithium. Lots of lithium. Samsung recalled all of the Note 7s worldwide, which were so dangerous they had to be returned in fireproof boxes. Our final product recall is about cars again, and boy, it's a doozy. It's the exploding Ford cruise control defect, which resulted in the recall of 14 million cars and trucks. It also killed at least 2 people that we know of. Surprisingly, the defect didn't affect cars when they were using cruise control, but rather when you switched it off. Drivers could leave their cars parked, turned off, and closed inside the attached garage of their home. Then a little bit later, they'd come back to find a raging inferno consuming the car, their garage, and anything else within blast radius. Affected vehicles date all the way back to the early 1990s. Ford fixed the fire hazard by adding a little thingy onto the defective fuse, but not replacing it. Totally reassuring. So that's our top 10 deadliest product recalls. From now on, we're sticking to products that we know are gonna kill us for sure. Like cigarettes and trampolines, because we hate uncertainty. Good night!